So this is the Osmo Action camera, and it's so tiny. I don't know what to do with it, and I'm not an action guy, so maybe I'll try to vlog with these things. Shall we? Let's try it. Okay, in today's review, we are going to, look at the Osmo Action, but more specifically, since I'm not an action guy, and you probably have seen tons and tons of content on the internet already about how good this is as an action tool. Some of the reviewers already done a vlogging test on it, but I want to go up a little bit level. I'm trying to pimp this thing up just to see how much I can put on these things and make it like a complete vlogging solutions. I did bring my vlog cord, just to mount these things on, but yeah, before you can mount this thing with a standard tripod mount on, you need a cage, which is easily found on the internet. I have one right here, which I'm going to show you in detail in a minute. So this basically just similar to the case that actually comes with the Osmo Actions. You just simply slot in the machines and cover it, but instantly it will transform your Osmo Action into a rig. So this is the cage I'm talking about. So this thing really is quite awesome, because you can see that at the top there is a cold shoe mount there, on the side there's another one. At the moment there's a little mount screw thread there, so for me to mount other things like external recorder and things like that, which I don't use one at the moment because I want to test the internal audio, by the way. So the top mount, I'm going to mount the bowling LED light panels there, just to give a little bit of a oomph for my lighting solution, just in case I need to counteract some sort of backlit situation just like this right now. There is one thing that I do want to try, is the external audio input, but as you know, Osmo Action doesn't have a 3.5mm jack, and then DJI does sell a USB-C to 3.5mm converter. However, that's all sold out completely within the UK or anywhere else I could find online, and which is actually quite a disappointing thing. There are some sellers do sell it in China, and I did place one about a month ago, and it did not arrive, so it's unfortunate that I cannot test that at all. I know Kai has already done something, but apparently the converter didn't work at all as well, but he just bought basically a £5 job from the internet, and you need a specific kind of proprietary converter for it to work, and but I'm waiting to test it, so if I find something later on, I'll definitely report back and update the description from this video, so stay tuned for that. Right, okay, I guess I'm ready for the vlogging test on the Osmo Action camera, and at the moment I'm standing quite close. As you can see, the view is very wide of the Action camera, and this is almost like about 1.5 feet here to the lens, and which is actually not too bad, because for the working distance that for this to perform, I think at a sweet spot, especially for the LED light and the internal recorder, the audio recorder, is round about this sort of distance, and I don't expect it will do very well if I walk further away, and the light just not powerful enough, nor the audio is sensitive enough to pick up my voice. So this is the perfect kind of distance, I would guess, and especially now you can hear me quite clearly. I believe it's because the part is actually quite quiet. When I go out on the street, it could be a very different story, but let's see. I'll see you in a minute. Bye. So the vlogging test has started. Let's start up with the build quality of the Osmo Action camera. Well, how would I put it? It's very solid, and it feels more solid than it looks, because it's just too small for me to kind of view anything, but it does have a very dense construction, so even it's quite lightweight, but it's got a little bit of a heft to it. I don't know, sounds a bit contradictory, isn't it? And anyway, it feels very solid, and I don't think it's a drop-proof thing though, so do not drop your camera, but overall very well fitted, no wobble, no rattles anywhere you can hear, so which is a good thing. And no matter like the flaps, the battery, and they all fit very snugly, so it's actually very good. I do like that sort of feeling. So build quality, top marks. It's more like a typical DJI thing, I think, these days. Image quality, and this is a big question, of course, when you are buying any sort of image capturing machine these days. I am happy to report that DJI OSMO Action is actually very good in that department. Footage is sharp. I do not know the exact settings, in terms of sharpening and noise reductions within the system itself, because they all do that, within the kind of processing within the unit. But in terms of the image still photos, it's actually quite good in bright daylights like this, and so is the video footage in 4K, and it just looks sharp. Yeah, it just looks sharp enough, and you can view it on bigger screen as you wish. You will not see any defects and things like that. But here's the but though, when it comes to slightly dimmer situations, indoor, you can forget about, like, dark situations, but like even indoor, you will start seeing noise creeping in all over the place. And this is something that I have to highlight to you guys, because you don't expect very, very clean low lights shooting with this particular camera, and because it's just the sensor size, it's limited by the sensor size, and also I think it's the aperture for the lens itself. And so unfortunately, this is the one negative from the image quality department. But in bright daylight like this is not a problem at all, and in fact it's actually quite pleasant. It's quite surprisingly good. Okay, right, I guess I have to sit down and rest for a bit because the rain has come, and I'm quite lucky with rain these days actually. And after half an hour, yeah, the sky suddenly turned very cloudy and not very good for walking around in my non-waterproof gear. Well, apart from the OSMO Action is waterproof, but my LED isn't. But anyway, so let's have a talk about my first thought about the actual unit itself. I've taken this OSMO Action to a couple of my family trips already. We've had great fun with it. Yesterday we went to Legoland and with my kids, and then the good thing is that because this thing's waterproof, I can actually do anything with it. My kids were doing some really fun gold digging thing, and then I just simply put this action camera underwater to see them sieving all this metal from the sand. This is actually quite awesome footage. And also when we went to like a submarine thing to watch some of the underwater creatures and fishes and things like that, this is actually pretty good at it. And having said that, like I mentioned about image quality, the noise level does creep in as soon as you go a little bit lower light, so yeah, just be mindful of that. But second thing I do notice as a vlogging tool is the weight. I love it. The weight is just fantastic because it's so tiny, it doesn't weigh a thing. After like half an hour walk with the things holding continuously, I cannot see myself getting tired at all, because this is compared to my normal vlogging kit, which I usually use, and this is only a fraction of the weight. So even if I mount the LED panel on top of it, it's still quite light by comparison. So this is actually quite good. What else though? And that is the very wide view, and I guess if you're a vlogger, you want to make sure, you guys or the viewers see what's behind you or surrounding you. And so as a travel camera, when you're vlogging in location, this is actually quite good. And also because of the wide angle that I mentioned, I don't have to stretch on my arm too far. I could just bring it in a little bit. You can see myself quite nice and clear. And that means that if I go to something somewhere quite tight with lots of people, this is actually good. So it's not intrusive to other people's personal space, so this is actually very good indeed. And also, third thing I want to talk to you about is the rock steady. The rock steady is actually very effective, and I have it on at the moment, so you can see that I'm actually shaking the camera, but it doesn't do a thing. I'm just checking the screen, and yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing how well, you can see the little jitter there because I'm shaking too much, but it's actually very effective. But don't forget, because this is electronic stabilization, so it will crop in significantly compared to the general non-rock steady footage. I'm gonna switch it off so you can see how much wider it is. I'm gonna keep my arm distance like this, so bear with me 1 second. So we're gonna do this now. So this is very, very wide, and you can see that how much it's been cropped in without the rock steady shot. So at the moment I'm holding very steady, so yeah, it looks kind of steady, but yeah, as soon as you start walking without the rock steady, things will become a lot more jittery and things like that. So unless you're mounting on something that will capture your actions like in a much wider view, if you give your viewers a much more dramatic involvement, yeah, I would turn the rock steady off. But in general cases, if you're just walking around, want to vlog yourself like a run and gun type, and I would definitely have the rock steady on, and definitely, because it's actually very, very effective stabilizations, and I'm actually quite impressed with that. Well, it looks like the rain has stopped, and but while I'm sitting down, I might as well talk to you guys about the interface itself. So it's touchscreen, so it's all good in singing and dancing. If you are a smartphone user who are used to all this touchy thingy, that means that you will be able to use the Osmo Action without a problem. But there's a thing, you know, just remember, touchscreen will not work in wet situations or in water or underwater. And so if you are want to do something underwater, changing mode, things like that, you will have to use the physical buttons, which you can customize on the side, which is QS button on the side, and it does have the big fat button on the top of the camera itself, like the record button or the quick start button and the power on and off button. So that's all good because they are physical control. It works in any situation, so you don't have to worry about too much. But when it's wet, that means that the touch interface will not work, and if you want to review images and things like that, unless you customize the button on the side, you will not be able to do so until you dry up your hands or anything like that. One thing I do notice though is that that double tap gesture to changing from front and back screen is a little bit fiddly. I sometimes have to try to do it a few times before it will switch the cameras, switch the screen, and that's a little bit annoying. I thought it would be quite fluid, but at the moment it's just a little bit kind of fiddly to use. But other than that, it's actually quite effective. I do like the front screen, and I do think it is a killer feature for the Osmo Action that will make it stand out from all sorts of action cameras out there because of the front screen. Because now you can compose yourself when you're vlogging, just like what I'm doing at the moment, because you can actually check the composition, make sure everything it works, and yeah, it's good. I do like the front screen, even though it's tiny. But if you are viewing this sort of distance, like I mentioned, about what, a feet and a half, it's perfect. You know, like it doesn't need to be big. You just need to know that you're centering yourself perfectly. You're not kind of like doing like this or like that, or sometimes you just completely gone off completely. But unlike it, because the angle is so wide. But anyway, you know what I mean. Yeah, you want to keep yourself more or less in the center. So and also checking that you're not like kind of doing a little bit too low or a little bit too high. So yeah, the front screen does work very well. As you can see, the Mimo app does work very well. So instead of using the tiny little screen at the back, or even the even tinier screen at the front, you can now use a huge screen on your phone, so which is actually good. In terms of the app itself, I think it's actually top notch. Uses Wi-Fi connections, and then so it's actually pretty stable and very reliable. And I do think the transfer speed is absolutely stunning, because if you want to transfer your images and video footage from the SD card in the Osmo Action unit itself to your smart devices, the speed can reach up to about 8.5 or even 9 megabits per second, which is actually kind of insane. So you can actually transfer quite a lot of stuff wirelessly through the devices, so that will help in terms of your post-production in the field. So you may not even need to have a wire to connect everything. However, just a little bit of a heads up, at the moment, depending on what sort of thing you're filming, like HDR or 4K 60, so it may use a AEC codec, so it may not actually be supported for direct transfer. Your iOS devices would not accept it at this moment in time. So for those footage, you may need to transfer via with a conversion into 1080, so you can't really get the 4K benefits. But anyway, hopefully this will resolve in the future. But overall, the app execution is a DJI fashion, just top notch. I cannot fault their app development, and they have years of experience now for the drones, for the gimbal and everything like that. So yeah, this is no difference. The Mimo app is actually very good. Although I wonder why can't they just combine everything now? They now have so many different DJI apps now, so like I'd rather have them like all bundled together. That'll be quite good. But anyway, apps and apps, so it works fine, and can change all kinds of settings there. Like I mentioned, the transfer speed is just top notch. The screen quality, the connection is very reliable, very stable, and yeah, I'm just rather looking at a bigger screen if I have the choice. So maybe I can even mount the new rig next to the camera to have a bigger screen to look at. But I have to tell you that there is a little bit of a delay there, so it's good for only compositions only. Don't judge it in terms of if you have this important moment you want to capture. So there is a little bit of maybe about half a second to a second delay, just regardless which screen you're looking at, whether it's going to be through the app or actually the back screen also have a little bit delay as well. So anyway, looks pretty good. I do like it. Here's the Mimo app. So what do I think of the Osmo Action camera? Well, one word: impressive. I do genuinely like it, and you know, by all means, because I've used so many cameras, and I think this is actually pretty good at what it does. And even as a vlogging camera, which I'm actually quite surprised, it really does the job really well. Like I mentioned, I could not hear the audio because I'm just purely relying on the internal recording at the moment. So you know, you guys be the judge of it. And I do think, of course, if I can get the USB-C to 3.5mm converters, maybe I can plug in my external mic, that will dramatically improve the audio quality. That's for sure. You know, no way I can use the internal audio, so I'm gonna still wait for that. So stay tuned for my update once I tested it, whenever it's becoming available, because I'm still waiting. Anyway, so what do I like about it? And I think the size and flexibility of this unit. So it's a very good C cam, like I mentioned already. So if you're like an active filmmaker, I think this can be a very good C cam for you to get into those really tight situations where you would definitely need something tiny to fit in those little gaps to capture those angles that you need. So very good at that. And even though it has a very wide angle, but yeah, you can adjust to it. So in that case, it's good. But depending on what you are, if you are an action guy, you know, like this, without a doubt, one of the best, if not the best, action cameras out there. I'm not an action guy, so I'm just using it as a what I would normally use as a vlogger. So it's actually pretty good. I do like it. It's all singing or dancing. No, well, there is a little bit of things I would like to highlight to you guys. One thing already mentioned about image quality is the noise. So yeah, apart from that, you know, I can't fault image quality. It's very sharp, very punchy. The colors is very good. But one more thing I want to tell you guys though is the battery life. You know, if you film a lot, be prepared to bring in a few more spare batteries or constantly plugging into a power bank to keep it charging and going at the same time. Because if you film a lot, just please beware, you drain your battery very quickly. And yeah, a couple of hours, you probably gone through a whole battery. So yeah, just be aware of that, especially when you get 4K and 60 frames per second. So yeah, these are huge files as well. So yeah, bring a few more spare memory cards, and also battery will definitely help. But anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video, and if you want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking the button there, and also yeah, stay notified by enabling the bell notification so you know when our new video is coming out. Until next time though, I'm gonna end this vlog and go back to my normal life. See you then, bye. Shoo.